So now I'm going to work an example for you. So the first thing we want to do is figure out what type of function we have here. So let's look at all of our examples and see what shape they have. It looks like all of them are a perfectly straight line. There's no curve, there's no asymptotes. So this function is going to be a linear function. So I'm filling out this green cell first because it's going to help me figure out what kind of pattern I can expect to see. So the pattern I see here, I can look either between x and y, or I can look between the different y values. The x value is always going to go up by 1. So I look between these two, and I see they're always the same. So x and y, always the same. Now I want to put in an Excel formula that uses my x values to give me my y values. So it'll reproduce this pattern that I've described up here. The cool thing is that as soon as I type something in, so I'm just going to type a number in instead of a formula. As soon as I type something in, it immediately graphs that point. So I can see if my guesses are looking good or if maybe I need to make some adjustments. Alright, so we want to make this a formula. So the first thing we're going to type is equals, so that Excel knows that we're giving it a formula. Then I'm going to click over here on cell A5, which is the value of x at that point. I'm going to hit enter. You see our point moved down directly in line with the other y point. So that's good, that's encouraging. So I'm going to drag this down and see if it fits for the other cells as well. Alright, great, it filled them in. Our formula values and our y values are the same. Our points look good. We've mostly finished with our orange cells. We may come back to them later to fill in these last 3 yellow cells, but for now I'm going to leave them alone. If you've written your formula in terms of this x cell, you'll find that the function actually falls quite naturally. So you look here, you look at what you're doing with x, and you do the same thing with it over here. So y equals x. So we're not multiplying, dividing, there's no exponents. We're just going to leave it y equals x. So that's how we fill in our green cell. The only thing we have left to do is fill in our yellow cells. So in order to do that, I'm going to drag down my formula the rest of the way. Okay. And then what I'm going to do after that is I'm going to include this new data. Anytime you're adding new cells to the graph or changing the value of the cells that you're already graphing, there's a chance it will change the window. Okay? So that we're going to make this negative 10 to 10, negative 6 to 6, make those values change. Okay? So watch what happens when I include the next 2 cells. Okay? It changed my window. But the overall shape of the graph hasn't been modified at all. So it's just added these 2 new points. So I'm going to add this last point right here. It's going to change it even more. But don't be alarmed. We still want to have a straight line. To get our first 2 yellow cells, we just copy over our value from over here. So 10, and I'm going to leave this one blank actually. You can fill this one in on your own, but you just copy it over. Our third yellow cell is a nearby sites question. So I'm going to explain how to do it, but if on your own you get really stuck on it, just move on to the next graph. So what this yellow cell is asking is, what x value will give us a y value of 100? So if I put in 30, for example, it's going to graph one point in blue at 30, 100, and one point in orange at 30, and then our pattern will be applied to do the pattern 30. So we have the orange cell here and the blue cell here. So when we change this cell, we're going to move this blue point to the left and to the right. So we want to maybe slide it over more to the right so it falls in line better. So I'm going to move it a bunch to the right. I'm going to move it to 80. See, it's getting closer. So thinking about it more carefully, we know if our y value is 100 and our x is equal to our y, we want to make this equal to 100 as well. And when you get the right point, you'll see that the blue point and the orange point will be in the same spot, just like with all of our other ones. So we're finished with the example. Let me review what we've done. So first we've described in words the pattern that we saw. Then we replicated that pattern using Excel and used algebra to describe the Excel pattern. Then we just used that pattern to guess for two new numbers. If we felt comfortable, then we completed the nearby site. Okay, happy solving. I'm going to put some more notes on this and upload it to Haiku. Don't forget, when you start a new sheet, put in the function name and general formula first, because it'll help you with everything else. Don't worry if you can only do a couple of the examples. We're going to go over this in class, but I would like you to Dropbox it so I can see how to help you best and how far you got.